Welcome everyone to our panel of emerging women in the industry. Joining us via Skype from Alberta is Nicole Saint Martini, the co-chair of the Toronto ACTRA Women's Committee. She's also an actor, producer, and director. This is Clara Pasieka, the co-chair of the Young Emerging Actors Assembly, as well as an actress, a writer, and a political activist. This is Connie Wang. She is an actor and YouTuber. Kristina Esposito, actor and producer. And this is Nicole Chung, independent filmmaker and full-staff developer. My name is Amanda Joy, and I am a screenwriter and actor based in Toronto. So I guess to start off, we could talk about what sorts of career obstacles you feel are unique to women in the industry. You can go with anecdotes, you can just go with broader things, whatever you want to talk about.
I know I'm still young, but just the thought of like wanting to kind of start a family and then not really knowing like when to like plan to have kids, because already we're so scarce in like what's happening, and then just to like leave for a year
with our bodies always under analysis too.
You know what I mean?
It's like a very different issue for young women who are working in the acting industry than it is for even in other careers.
Having had a kid, and not long ago at all, and it was definitely something that I considered. I have to say that I'm very glad that I didn't wait for the phone to ring. In fact, you know, I had some horrible, stupid things said to me by people in the industry who, you know, like one agent who really liked the work that I was doing at the interview that I had with him, and basically, you know, looked me up and down and said I wasn't of the Playboy type. And this, I'm at like 7 or 8 months pregnant at this point in time, and then told me to come back if in fact I did continue to desire to be an actor after I had a kid. And I was like, I left, first of all, not ever wanting to work with this person, ever. And I left thinking, you know, my husband would never have been told that.
For me, I'm feeling like a lot of the challenges that I'm dealing with now in terms of being a woman in the industry and sexism and those sorts of things are actually a lot more subtle.
Before, you know, when I used to work on film sets like really often, it was like there was a lot of like they're just constantly hustling for work and like constantly calling up people and then enduring harassment because you're going for drinks with people who are maybe like harassing you so you can find work.
This is a unique challenge I've found as a woman, is that when somebody gives you their card and says let's meet for coffee or let's meet for drinks, and you don't know if they're trying to network you or if they're trying to ask you out, and sometimes they use networking as a way to get at you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it often develops into very creepy dates.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a tricky one. Because you also, as a single woman, you also don't want to be like completely closed off to possibilities. Well, you know, if you're the same age as my dad, like, you know, let's close that door.
I don't think it matters about age from my own experience, but also from people who are older than me, women who are older than me. This is apparently something that continues to happen. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you're single either. I mean, being married, sometimes I think that wedding ring is more of an attraction thing. I don't know what it is, because that means that you're not going to be pursuing it, or I don't know what. That I'm lacking in those skills in order to navigate those waters and figure out how, one, not to hurt their feelings. I'm kind of getting over that now. Two, how not to burn a bridge. And three, to still be appealing to somebody, not necessarily attractive, but somebody who's, you know, still open. And because our industry, certainly as actors, we have to remain open.
I have a friend who works in marketing, and she's engaged. And every time she goes to meet a client or has to do an interview or anything, she has to take her ring off.
Oh, I'm not taking my ring off ever.
Unless I'm auditioning for a role.
Yeah, like, if I'm auditioning for a role, obviously that's like, then I would take it off. But yeah, no, I'm engaged, like, done. I'm not, I don't know, like, I completely agree with what you guys are saying, like, totally, but I'm, like I said to you before I did this, like, talk, I don't know, I've never thought of I've never thought of myself as a woman. Doesn't sound like the right way to say it, but I've never gone into a room thinking like, oh, but I'm a woman, so they're not going to take me seriously. I've never thought I can't do something because I'm a woman. I've never, honestly, that thought has never even crossed my mind until I started getting involved with ACTRA, and people said that was a barrier, and then I was like, oh, maybe it is a barrier. I don't really know.
It's interesting because my husband and I, when we first started, we got married very, very, very young. We were still almost teenagers, really, when we got married. And he's a white man, and you know, mainstream, good-looking guy. And it took a while for him because it's still an extraordinarily tough industry. But eventually, over time, he started to see the differences. And I think, you know, when you love someone and you see some of the stuff that's coming up, the breakdowns, the wording of the breakdowns, and the kinds of auditions that I'd go to and come back with stories of, and he'd be like, oh my God, like that's insane.
I wonder if there's a way that we as women and as filmmakers and artists can maybe change the way that people think.
You just know that what you have to say is important, and I think right now that's one of the things that's so lacking but slowly getting better is kind of different stories and diverse stories and stories that aren't often seen, and like know that, you know, you have a unique story to tell, so tell it, and, you know, find the people that will do it with you and do it, and don't let other people tell you that you can't. Just do it.
I think we spend a lot of our time as actors and as artists thinking about how we don't have power, actually. But I think that more often than not, we actually do have power if we look hard enough to find it. I think that we have the power to shape conversations from our audience members. I think, you know, if you're dealing with a work of art and a certain subject occurs in, you know, an episode you did, in a film that you were in, you have the power to start a conversation in the talk back at the film premiere, on Twitter when the episode airs. You have the power to talk about real things. You have the power to make people think about things. I actually think that it's part of your job. I consider it part of my job to shape conversations and make people to think about things in new ways that bring us closer together, that ask us to think about things that we don't normally think about. Take that power and use it to talk about something that you care about, because maybe one person will read what you write, and maybe you won't even know how many people have read what you've written.
Also, I think it's incumbent upon those of us who do have different experiences, for whatever way, whatever aspects of life we bring to the table, to try and be as honest as we possibly can. You know, I know some people get really tired of being questioned by people who are ignorant of certain subjects and issues and experiences, but I think it really is, you know, what are we doing in this industry if we're not going to be open, and, you know, as storytellers, if we're not going to be open and honest about our experiences, and so that we can share that. And yeah, and I do think it's really incumbent upon the people who are in positions of power to reach down and to allow people to enter those doors and to see how the system is keeping some doors closed, and to change the dynamic, change the culture.
I will talk slower, and then I'll drop my volume.
You're getting harassed by like a technician or something, like they're the ones that give out all the toys to like everyone, right?
Yeah. Definitely easier said than done. But like standing up for yourself and knowing that you are actually, you deserve to be there and you should be there. So